My first experience with the Zener limiter was about 10 years or so ago at Blackbird Studios in Nashville, where John McBride has quite a collection of the original Abbey Road gear. And I was pretty impressed with these original Abbey Road EMI limiters. They were very unusual sounding, very powerful sounding, really a lot of sustain and a lot of weight to the sound, and quite unique. At the time, those limiters weren't available. I believe Abbey Road only made a few of them, and they're very, very hard to come by. And luckily, about 6 months later, when I was there working on the Raconteurs record, the folks at Chandler made new versions of them, and Wade was smart enough to take the original Abbey Road designs and tweak them to add more features, because the original limiter that I used had simply a input, output, and a hold feature, which was basically more compression. Very, very simple limiter controls. So Wayne's updated them with more attack times, more release times, more gain, impedance on the input, much more flexible unit now. So for 10 years, I've been using the Chandler Zener limiter on all my drums. Everything I've done in the last 10 years, I've always used that limiter, whether it's when I'm tracking on my room mics or my overheads, or when I'm mixing as a parallel drum compressor. That's like one of my go-to compressors for drums. The Zener just has a unique tone. It instantly sounds classic to me. It sounds like every record I grew up listening to in the 70s and 80s. It's got sustain, it's got weight, just character. I always look for sounds that have personality and character, and Zener's got it. My favorite use of the Zener, parallel drum compression, hands down. Works in every genre of music, adds weight, tone, sustain to the drums. That's my favorite use. I've tried it on piano, horns, strings, backgrounds. Definitely works, but excels on drums. So what I have here is a set of rock drums. I have a parallel drum compression bus set up here in Pro Tools, as you can see here. And I have the Zener limiter on it. And this I have sort of ballpark to a sound that's primarily meant for sustain and power. It's a slower attack, faster release, so the drums pump and add weight. And you can hear it without the compression. And now with the compression, instantly the tone comes up on the drums, the power comes up on the drums. If I want more sustain, I can slow down the release a little bit and add a little bit more weight. I tend to really like the drums in the limiter setting. That tends to be my favorite setting for drums, is the limiter. I usually roll off some of the side chain low end so it doesn't compress so much on the kick. It lets the kick pop through the mix. Here we'll go in and out again. No compression. Compression, so you can hear how the snare tone instantly comes up, drums come forward, there's much more excitement. My presets are starting points. I got them by taking various examples of pianos, guitars, drums, background vocals, and ballparked them. So they're the basic start, the go-to when I start to compress a tone with the Zener. Definitely feel free to adjust them. They're not the end-all, but they're a good starting point for everybody to use. And the one nice feature about the plugin is it's got an MS feature. So if you want to get, for instance, perhaps you're recording a vocal and acoustic guitar and you want the acoustic guitar to be pretty wide, you can put the MS mode in and instantly your acoustic guitar gets really nice and stereo. I like the Zener on background vocals too. I have, once again, a group of background vocals here that have been submixed to my AUGs, and I have the Zener on the group background vocal. So we'll hear the backgrounds without compression, and then we'll pop the compressor in. And let's pop the compressor in. So you can see that all that tone and sustain comes up. There's a bit more weight to the vocals. Sounds like even more people singing. Well, after using the Chandler TG1 compressor, which is really a faithful model of the original Abbey Road compressors, the Zener is that, but 10 times more flexible. Having different attack and release really makes it much more flexible for me, because my settings for drums are going to be very different than my settings for background vocals. So having those additional features really helps a lot. The Zener is like my #1 choice for drums. Every record I've done in the last 10-15 years, that's where it's at. Love the Zener.